growing up with my mother, she taught me everything. She was a very loving, nurturing person. She was my Girl Scout leader. That was a huge part of my life and really brought us really close. As long as I can remember, she was a nurse. I know she taught through work, and one of my friends went through and was her student that followed her around, and she just said how amazing Mom was, and that's all that we hear.
Della was a wonderful person. She was very compassionate. She was always there to help her patients and her peers, and also I know a little bit about her personal life, that she was also very dedicated to her family.
She helped me with my children too a lot, and I can see her through them. The love for the outdoors, the love for the garden, the love for the flowers, and planting flowers was always something she loved to do. That weekend, I was away. It was my daughter's first softball tournament for the summer. She was on a traveling league, and finally about 2 p.m. I noticed all these missed calls from my mom, and it's not like my mom not to leave me a message, and there was no messages, there was just the missed calls. And I called it back, and my uncle had answered. And I said, well, where's Mom? She's been calling me all day, what's going on? And all he said is, you need to get to Sacred Heart right away. She's very sick, and that's all he told me. She's very sick, you need to get to the hospital right away. I remember I actually fell to my knees. And I told my husband we had to leave right away because something was wrong with Mom, and I didn't have a good feeling about it. And we were in Rice Lake, and it's about almost a 2-hour drive. And I just kept looking out the window, knowing, or just that feeling that something wasn't right. And at that point, my sister was actually in Scotland, and I didn't want to make any decisions without her there. So at that point, I did whatever I could to get a hold of her, and I knew there was a big time difference there.
When Kayla said that that our mom was in the hospital, I was like, oh, it'll be okay, because I didn't think it was anything that serious. And she said, no, it's not going to be okay. And I did break down, and all I can remember is kind of falling to my knees and just bawling for 2 seconds. It really was only 2 seconds, and then I remembered that I was across the ocean, and all I wanted to do is get back home.
When me and my father were walking through the hallway, we had met the doctor coming out of the doors, and he right away immediately asked, are you the family of Della Wolden? And yes, we are. And he goes, you don't realize how serious this is, do you? And we both looked at each other and we're like, well, no, what's going on? What happened? And he goes, well, we're sorry. We went to do surgery, and it was already too late. She had no brain activity for some time. And there was really nothing they could do. They pulled us aside in a room so we could talk and get more details. And they said, we want to give her the benefit of the doubt. We want to pump her full of steroids and pump her full of fluids and give her 24 hours to see if we can get some sort of brain activity. But we don't want you to get your hopes up, because there's a 95% chance that nothing's going to happen.
When you look at benefits of donation, organ, tissue, and eye all together, when you look at it and you say, somebody's going to receive, tonight somebody is going to receive a liver or a kidney or a pancreas, and they are going to live and walk and be a productive person in society. To provide those life-saving gifts to people all over the United States, I think gives really good closure to families.
Well, she donated and saved, at least that we know of, 3 lives. Her kidneys and her liver. So I know that there's 3 people out there at least that are, you know, going on with their life and spending that time with their family. And I know that's how she would want it.
There was no hesitation on knowing what Mom's wishes were. We had that conversation. I think when I got my license, they tell you, tell your parents what your wishes are because things can happen, and we would talk, and I think my whole family was like, get whatever, everything, anything that you can, because we're not taking our bodies with us.
My experience as a living donor has been amazing. I feel so blessed that I was able to give my mom a kidney. She obviously was not feeling well, and just watching her go through daily life, not being her normal self, made me want to do it even more. If I hadn't been a match for my mom, she would have gone on dialysis, which we weren't far from. She was pretty sick when we finally did donate. She would also go on the deceased donor list, which is extremely long. Eventually, I'm sure it probably would have led to her death.
I was diagnosed as a patient in 2005 with leukemia, and I went through months of treatment, chemotherapy and radiation. They then contacted me and said, you need to have a transplant. Unfortunately, nobody in my immediate family matched, so they did a donor search through the National Donor Marrow Project, and they found a donor for me. Receiving the donation gave me life, so it obviously changed it in a lot of ways. I feel that I've been given a second chance where a lot of people have not been.
When everything that is normal in one's life has been flipped upside down. They're trying to take in the whole aspect of first losing their loved one, if it was a spouse or a child or a sibling, and then we're asking to, in a fairly short amount of time, to make decisions about donation and giving up part of their loved one, and with them being able to entrust the different organizations to say, we are going to take excellent care of your loved one.
I see unfortunate circumstances where patients can potentially be donors of organs and tissue, and also some of my patients are recipients of those organs and tissues that allow surgeries to go on and benefit people who can use the tissue that's donated.
Some of the families feel that their church does not permit it, and yet that is a wrong notion, because the majority of churches believe in the fact of organ and tissue donation. The churches believe it's kind of a personal decision they make, and many of the churches believe the very fact of organ or tissue donation is an act of charity in a spirit of compassion and a spirit of knowledge. As far as the Catholic Church is concerned, the Catholic Church encourages organ and tissue donation. It encourages because it is an act of love.
We knew right away. Mom was always talking about donate for life. She always gave blood. And I know that that's what she wanted, was to donate, and And then we actually, shared that information with Desiree, and she knew Mom's wishes too. So
for us, it was a really easy decision. It was a hard time, but it was an easy decision to know what my mom's wishes were. And I know that's not the case for every family, but as my mom had said before, you're not taking your body when you go, and what a precious gift it is to know that a part of her is still living on and through people.
I have never met my donor. We've talked on the phone a few times, but I would love to meet her someday.
Organ donation is something that I've been in complete support of since I first learned about it, and I feel just honored that I was able to give her one of my kidneys.
I often see a real transition in the families when they make that decision to move forward. It just gives them something positive in that situation.
She's still working through people, and then even with the organ donation and tissue donation, we still see great things being done in her name, and that the honoring my mom really makes me happy.